Hi everyone, today we are going to take a deep dive into the project settings for AVstudio Editor. This is where you can edit your project's name, theme, splash screen, environment settings, and connectors. To access the project settings, go to the dashboard tab on the top left of your screen, then select settings down here, and then you'll see a drop down for project settings. Alright, so we're inside the project settings. You can change the project name here. You can change the theme. Right now, only Dark Huddle is available, but more customization for project theme is coming soon. Here you can adjust the splash screen image, which you'll upload to your Media Assets tab, and then you can also add some splash screen text here. Here are the environment settings. This allows you to define various configurations for different deployment scenarios inside a single project. So instead of duplicating a project for each system or location, you can create environments and easily switch between them. This is very useful when you need the same UI, but different connectors, variables, credentials, or device addresses depending on where the interface will be used. So it's going to be automatically on the default project settings, but you can just click here and this will be a whole new environment for you. And you can just adjust the name here. We'll call it dev settings. Next, you can activate the debug console. The debug console is a simple tool that acts as a live activity log. When previewing your project, you can see variables change, data coming in, functions running, and overall just device communication. This lets you see exactly how your project is responding to your elements. And here we have the build archive name. This is where you can name the file for the complete project build. It's just helpful to organize your projects on your computer. And moving on, we have project connectors. Project connectors allow your UI to talk to your systems. So they are essentially the communication bridges between your interface and the real hardware or data sources it controls. Currently, AVstudio supports 4 connector types, with AMX coming soon. These include Crestron, MQTT, WebSocket, and Web Connectors. Taking a closer look into the Crestron connectors, we'll just add one here, and then you just press this plus button here. You can use global joins to flip a page with either analog or serial signals. You can establish a notification signal. You can establish a refresh command for all data sources or single data source. So that's pretty helpful. And you can also set up a connection status indicator. So once we have that all set up, you can go to the WebEx panel, and this is where you're going to put in your processor IP address, the IP ID, room ID, and then the authentication token. Authentication tokens can be acquired through a command on our documentation website, which will be linked in the description. And by the way, the reason that is X'd out right here at the global joins and then up here at your build is just because it inherits the settings from your default environment. So if you want to change that, just click these toggles right here and you can adjust that there. Or you can go to your default settings and then just change it and it'll naturally cross over. The great thing about these environment settings is that you can have all your settings configured for different scenarios. So you might have one environment for production that the end user will actually see, and then another one for development, kind of like how I have here. Which is just helpful for testing features and things like that. It saves a lot of time because you don't have to manually reroute settings for just simple tests. Once you create an environment, it is saved to your project and can be toggled at any point. So if we just save the project settings, we can go back to the dashboard here, and you can see that for the live preview, you can either select the default settings that we had, or we can just select the dev settings and it pops up right here. And the same thing can be done for your final build. And you can also just change the environment up here in the top right corner. Another helpful configuration is having one environment for default settings and another with just the debug console enabled. So I'll just create another one here. This will have all of the default stuff that we had on the previous settings, but for this, I'll just enable the debug console. And let me just name this debug console, just so we know. Save it there. And then if we go to the live preview, first I will pop up with the default just to show you what it looks like. So it's just empty page. We didn't add any elements or anything, but if we open the same thing with the debug console, you will see that it popped up the console here. Pretty handy. And there's this little gear icon here. You basically just press that to hide and open it, and you can move it around. So, it doesn't get in the way of your interface or your build. It's really the small quality of life improvements like this that AV Studio has worked really hard to solve for developers. With everything organized more efficiently, you can save a lot of time in the development process and therefore reduce project costs significantly. And as we go through more tutorials, we're just going to show you more of these quality of life improvements that we have. Our goal is really to make the developers' lives a lot easier, and I think these videos will shed some light on that. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to show for this tutorial. As always, if you need additional help, feel free to check out our documentation page. If you have questions, do not hesitate to comment below, email us, or visit our community portals, all of which are going to be linked in the video description. And be sure to check out our former videos and our future videos. Subscribe to the channel just to be updated on when we make new posts. And please like the video if you enjoyed. Leave any feedback you have or questions in the comments below.